Hi everyone, and welcome to the DeHart house. My name is Alicia and I'm your host of this crafty channel here on YouTube. Today is Saturday, March 29th. I am on spring break, which is great. So happy spring. It has hit spring on the calendar here in the Pacific Northwest, and the weather is transitioning. It's quite nice. We're getting a little bit more sunny days rather than rainy days, but it's not full on summer yet, so we still have plenty of rainy days here. And the trees are starting to bloom and some of the spring flowers are starting to come out, and it's absolutely gorgeous here. Very delightful. So a much needed change from the gloomy, dark days of winter. And I know it's not nearly as dark here as some places in the world, and I'm not trying to compare. It's just, you know, that does impact my mood, and I'm really liking that the days are bringing more sunshine these days. So, yeah, I have some crafting to share with you. I finished, I think, just one thing, and I've cast on some new things, so let's get into it. So I did finish a sweater. I finished my stripe hype sweater. It is completely finished. I have washed it. I have worn it many times since I have finished it, and it's awesome. I love it so very much. The pattern is a paid-for pattern that I purchased off of Ravelry. The designer is Veronica Lindberg, and it is a top-down drop shoulder construction. I did modify the pattern. I used worsted weight yarn instead of DK weight, so I did modify the gauge, stitch count. I also reduced the amount of positive ease in the garment and modified the decreases on the sleeves. I did not want a big loose sleeve at the end by my wrist, so I did do steady decreases down, and I did more stripes. I increased the length of the garment. I did not want a cropped look where it just meets the top of my jeans. I wanted it to extend a few inches past that. I teach for a living, and I'm constantly lifting my arms to write on the whiteboard, and I want to be professional and covered. So, and I wanted this to be a garment I could wear at work, and I have several times. So yeah, I'm not going to go into great detail. I did post a video on my channel talking about making this project, kind of a vlog style journal entry, if you will. So if you're curious, go ahead and check out that video. I will put a card to it here, so if you want to click on it and pop over and watch that, you can. But yeah, I absolutely love it. I used all acrylic worsted weight yarn and used up a bunch of scraps in my stash. It is a fantastic sweater, and I would knit this again. And I kind of plan to. So, and it may or may not actually include stripes, just the general construction of it was very pleasant, intuitive, and I feel like I could easily adapt this to other things. So highly recommend. It was fun. I love the finished project. Can't say enough good things about it. I do actually have a second finished object. It's just kind of small and not quite finished because I need to weave in the ends, but I whipped up a headband. So I need to weave in the ends, but I needed a pretty straightforward, mindless project to work on, and this fit the bill. I kind of want a few more headbands to choose from, excuse me, when going out for walks and hopefully working up to running again. But yeah, I wanted a headband, so I used some leftover Karen Party, Simply Party, something like that. It's glittery, so it's got that tinsel in it. Basically, it's like, remember in the like 80s and 90s when we'd put that metallic tinsel on the Christmas trees, and I feel like that's pretty much what's in sparkle yarn is that. So yeah, I just reminds me of Christmas tinsel, but look at that. It has great sparkle to it, and I wear a lot of black and gray, so this just will go with anything and is not suited for me with my hair down, as you can see. But I oftentimes put my hair up in a little flip over bun on the top of my head, and that's how I am on most days. Like when I get home and I just want to throw my hair up out of my face, and if I want to take the dog for a walk, I could just throw on this headband and I would be good to go. So it's 2x2 ribbing, worsted weight yarn. There we go. You can see it when it's blown out like that. But it's very stretchy. It's 100% acrylic, so I throw it in the wash. You can see that the tensioning with the bind off versus the cast on is different. I can't tell once I have it on, so it's not a big deal, but I do think it makes it look weird. But yeah, I just kept trying it on to see, because when you stretch it out, right, the depth gets shorter, and I just wanted to make sure it would cover my ears. Because if I'm wearing a headband, it's mostly that I want to be able to keep my ears warm. So yeah, just a real quick project. So I will weigh this and calculate the yardage, because I keep track of those things and every little bit counts. So yeah, just a quick little headband, and I'll probably whip up some more of these in different colors, maybe some bright colors, so that, you know, I made those bright orange hats to make us a little bit more visible when we're walking in the dark. So I wouldn't mind having a few more bright colors for headbands as well. So now that it's more light out, I feel like I can work on projects with dark colored yarn. And so I just finished the black headband, but I also cast on some black socks. And you'll see in a moment, I also have a black sweater. So the knitting just got really dark for some reason, but whatever. Yeah, I cast on these socks. They're going to be for Michael, my husband, and he can always use more black socks to wear to work, but knitting it completely black sounds boring, hence the pops of blue in here. So I did some stripes at the top, and this is all 2x2 ribbing. And 2x2 ribbing down the top of the foot here. And I use the contrast color for the heel, and then I will also use it in the toe. And this is the first sock. The yarn is from Knit Picks. I forget the brand. I want to say Knit Picks Stroll, and that's probably what it is, but it could be Felici actually. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is the first sock, and I was working on this morning while drinking my coffee and just taking it really easy. Straightforward knit. It's just, you know, it's dark yarn, good to work on when there's actually sunlight like there is today. There is some sunlight coming in the windows, which is very nice. So after finishing the stripe pipe sweater, I very quickly cast on another sweater, which is also top down, drop shoulder, worsted weight yarn. And actually the reason why I knit the stripe pipe sweater first, why I bought the pattern, is that I knew I wanted to use that as a base to adapt a different sweater pattern. So the other sweater pattern that I really wanted to knit is the Robinia sweater. However, this sweater features a boat neck, and I have found out that boat necks don't really suit me. I don't like how they feel. I don't think they're very flattering, which when you don't feel comfortable in your clothing, that is also going to make them not look very flattering. So, but I knew I wanted the color work of the Robinia sweater, but I wanted to modify the neckline, and a drop shoulder construction seemed the best way to go to maintain the colorwork patterning going straight across. So I used my stripe pipe experience to adapt this pattern, and I'm loving it so far. It is absolutely wonderful. So I have knit the front here and the back down to where they join. There we go. And I'm now knitting in the round for the body. And I think it looks really cool. So I definitely wanted the contrast for the colorwork patterning to stand out, but I didn't want to do black and white. I recently made a black and white cardigan, and I didn't want to just feel like I was basically knitting the same thing. So I went for a slightly different color scheme. So this yarn is from Joann's, and we all probably know at this point that Joann's is going out of business. And this will be the last yarn that I have purchased. So there's kind of a lot of memories being knit into this as I go, as my kind of saying goodbye to Joann's. But yeah, the colors are black and cinnamon. I bought 4 skeins of the black, 2 skeins of the cinnamon. These are still the first 2 skeins. The black one is very flat at this point. Makes sense. Black is the main color. I'm going to go through that much faster. The cinnamon is still got a lot here. We will see how much I end up using in this project, but yeah, so I'm loving it. It's a lot of fun. The color work is really simple, but graphic. I like how just graphic it looks in the garment. I think it's going to look, my hope is that it will look very polished in the end, but yeah, so I decided to add back in a little bit more positive ease with this sweater and have it be less fitted than my stripe pipe. Not a lot, I just added back a couple inches. And I think the sleeves will also be a bit wider at the top. I haven't decided yet about the sleeve decreases and how I want to do those. But I'm going to knit the body first. I'm going to take the body all the way down and then come back and pick up the sleeves, which is not how I did the stripe pipe. At this point on the stripe pipe, I paused the body to do the sleeves and then came back to finish the body. And I think that was the right call for that sweater, but now that I know have more experience with the drop shoulder and seeing how things work, I feel confident going ahead and just finishing the body first before picking up the sleeves. And I kind of want to see like how big the body is on me before working the sleeves, because I want to think about those proportions. I don't want this sweater to just look huge on me. And if the body is pretty big, then I might want the sleeves to be a little bit more tailored so that it doesn't just look like I'm wearing a carpet. Like I've just, ripped down the curtains and slung them over me. But I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping I've picked the right amount of positive ease so that it looks loose fitting without looking oversized. And then the sleeves could have a little bit more volume to them. But like I said, I'm gonna see how that plays out and just make a decision based on that. I also did a bit of spinning since the last time I saw you. So I had prepped, dyed, reprepped some fiber. I have some Shetland wool, and I think this is the last of it. And I dyed it purple and prepped it into Rolex. And I had started spinning this last year, I think towards the end of last year. And I didn't get very far. So I found some time and some motivation and found the plug for my e-spinner. I had misplaced it. Turns out it was just plugged into the outlet, but the cord had fallen behind the desk. I refound it and was able to plug in my e-spinner and work on this project some more. So I have some 2-ply Shetland that I dyed, and it is a woolen prep, and I tried to keep this a woolen spin as well. So you can see that the yarn is very fluffy and thick and thin and not smooth like a worsted spin, and that's intentional. So I have this bobbin is full and this bobbin is pretty full. On my e-spinner, I use a electric eel wheel Nano 2 and it is quite small. I actually like that it's small. I can, not that I've traveled with it very much, but I have traveled with it before, and I like that it's small. Yeah, anyway, I need to take the yarn off these bobbins, give it a good soak, and then be able to spin some more. I have a mound of the fiber over there. I'd like to get through that and then be able to prep a new spinning project. I would really like to use my new drum carder. It's a new to me drum carder. I bought it used from someone who got it used from a yarn and fiber shop that closed down. And yeah, so I'd really like to use that at some point. But I need to kind of work through the in-progress projects I have to make space for new projects. So that's kind of the mindset I'm in with my spinning. So yeah, I don't know, I'm just trying to enjoy the moment of all of my crafting and try not to just get it done because I've set a deadline and I need to get it done, but enjoy it along the way. And that seems obvious when I say it out loud, but sometimes I get, caught up in, oh, if I finish this, then I can start the next thing, and then I miss out on some of the joy. So I'm just trying to be a little more present and aware to soak in all that joy. Now, I told you guys I'm like on spring break now. And yesterday, yesterday is when spring break really started for me because I finished all my grading, turned it in, all that wonderful stuff. And I felt like painting. I really wanted to paint some D&D minis. So Michael and I play Dungeons and Dragons, and he has a 3D printer. We actually need to get a new one because the last one broke, but he's been printing minis for the game, and I've been painting them, except I've really fallen behind, and we have a lot of minis that are unpainted. And I just felt like painting. So I painted 3 minis yesterday, which is a lot. It doesn't sound like a lot, but I think I painted for 12 hours yesterday, which is a lot of painting. So I painted 2 of these guys, and I'll get some video of close-up, but I feel like just to give you some scale here, this is how big they are. Okay, and they're not glued onto this quite yet, but they've got the underside to paint as well as the top, and the top has these spikes on it, and just trying to paint it without breaking anything, you know, and get all the details. But yeah, I painted 2 of these, which I guess are called Feyrim. And then, I don't know, I was just on a roll, you guys. So here's the 3rd one. This is, I wouldn't call this, I mean, it's a mini, but it's huge. They are not usually this big. But this is like a giant, oh my gosh, I forget what this is supposed to be called, but basically it's like a robot, and her arms are attached with like some kind of spectral energy, and she's holding something different in each hand, but it's quite large. So in that aspect, it was a little easier to paint because I'm not trying to paint these tiny details onto this tiny thing. But at the same time, it was like, this is a lot of surface to be trying to do enough like shading details and stuff to make it look somewhat realistic. So anyway, yeah, I had a lot of fun. So really quickly here at the end, I have a goal this year. I have several goals, but one of the goals is to use more yarn out of my stash than what I bring in. And this is in reference to my commercial yarn. My hand spun yarn, I'm counting separately and differently because both are crafts, one bringing the yarn in and one taking the yarn out. I'm counting commercial yarn separately. So I did actually purchase some more yarn. I bought some from Hobby, Hobbii. I pronounce it Hobby. Is that wrong? It doesn't matter. Um, so I bought some yarn and it was delivered last week sometime, and I should probably grab it to show you. Hang on. I won't go into too much detail, but basically I got um, warm weather yarns. So I have Friends Wheel, which is 55% cotton, 45% acrylic. It is a size 2 fine yarn. It is in this beautiful blue color called Sapphire. This is color number 85 if you're looking on the website. I bought 4 of these. Each ball here has 100 grams, 437 yards. And my plan for this yarn is to knit a skirt. I knit a skirt a couple of years ago out of 100% cotton yarn. I love that skirt so much. I really want another one. I don't want to knit the exact same skirt. I want to do something a little different, but yeah, I want to knit a skirt. And then I also got some of this yarn. This is recycled cotton, daily stitch, recycled cotton. It is 70% cotton and 30% polyester. And I also got 4 balls of this. It is 100 grams and has 328 yards. Oddly enough, this is rated as a 1 superfine yarn, but okay. And my thought was a summery top of some sort, like a t-shirt, a tank top, something like that. I don't wear white very much. It's a difficult color for me to wear. I feel like I'm always getting my clothes dirty with like dropping food on them, or I'm out in the garden, things get dirt on them, or I don't know. I have a hard time, but I thought it would be nice to knit like a nice professional looking top that's for warmer weather that I could wear somewhere special, to church, to work, on a date, whatever. So, and I pretty much only buy stuff that's on sale, and they were on sale, and there you go. But that means I have brought a significant amount of yarn into my stash, which is kind of a big deal. So, where's my little note? There it is. Okay, are you ready? So this is for the year 2025, so my count restarts every new year. And so this year so far, out of all my purchases, I have brought into the stash 4,960 yards. What I've used out is counted when I finish a project. So if I have something in progress, I don't count that yarn until the object is actually done. So I have finished so far 2 pairs of socks, 2 hats, and a sweater. And I haven't counted the headband yet, but it'll be such a small amount on the yardages. It won't make a big difference right now. I'll include it next time. So far, yards out is 1,835, which means I have gained net gain of 3,125 yards, which means I'm not currently meeting my goal. So I'm very motivated to finish my new sweater, the Ravinia, and the pair of socks, because I know those are going to be pretty easy projects to finish and get through and to count those yardages. But I also have a crochet sweater on the go I haven't touched in a while, and that would take out a significant amount of yardage out of my stash if I were to finish it. If I cast on the skirt I was just talking about, that's significant yardage. But yeah, so yeah, I'm not doing so hot on that goal, but that's okay. I still have what, 9 more months to work on stuff, so we're good. So I think that's all I have for you today, which is plenty. I have done a lot. We've talked about a lot today. So I hope that you stay safe, stay healthy, and that you enjoy your crafts, whatever they may be. Bye.